I'm Sean Xavier Alquilita. So I'll be going to tackle about the next chapter of Philo 2 logic, which is the proposition. Okay, so let's start here. So proposition is the expression of judgment. So here, a proposition can be expressed either verbal or in writing. So what is attained in the mental act called judgment. So judgment is the act of the mind that unites two ideas either by affirmation, you're going to affirm or saying positive, or separates by negation or negative, no, or denial. Okay, so here to assert that Rodrigo Roa Duterte is the President of the Republic of the Philippines. So, that is a judgment. No? So, here in this first example, that is a judgment on affirmation. Why? It is because Rodrigo Roa Duterte is another term. It's of one term, and the other term is the President of the Republic of the Philippines. So, both these two terms agree to each other. So, therefore, the judgment is affirmation or affirmative or positive. Okay. Next, to say that Mang Jose is not a poor person. So, it really means that a judgment is negative. Why? It is because the subject and the predicate terms deny altogether. So therefore, it is negative. So here, the ideas in the judgment constitute its material elements or matter. The act of affirming or negating is its formal element or form. Okay. Judgment can be expressed by truth and falsity. That is why the judgment can either be true or false. Okay? So what is expressed by the judgment is either true or false. If the judgment conforms to the reality, conforms to the facts, therefore the judgment is considered as true. But if the judgment does not conform, if your judgment does not conform to the reality, if the judgment does not conform to the facts, if things are not as judgment asserts them to be, then the judgment is considered as false. So inasmuch as the proposition is expressive of a judgment, it must also be expressive of either true or false, of a truth or falsity. Hence, we describe the proposition as the sentence that is either true or false. Okay, not all sentences are propositions. I can say all propositions are sentences, but not all sentences are propositions. Why? Because since there are sentences that expresses neither truth nor falsity, then not all sentences are propositions. Just like an example, what time is it now? It is a question. No? An interrogative sentence. So that is a sentence, but it is not a proposition. Another example of a non-proposition, it is a command. Turn your books to page 35. Does it expresses truth or falsity? No. Okay. The other one, may you have a happy birthday. It's a wish. Okay? So, it does not express truth nor falsity. And kindly open your LMS. It's a request. Okay, so that example is also does not express truth or falsity. Oh my gosh, I've seen a ghost. Oh, it's an exclamation, no? Um, expresses a strong feeling. So that is not either that is not also considered as a proposition. Yeah, we can you can ask, oh, is it true or not? But actually, in logic, exclamation or expressions that expresses strong feelings, that is not considered as a proposition. Okay, the elements of the proposition. So basic to all propositions are the three elements: the subject, the copula, and the predicate. So S, C, and P. In English, C is considered as the verb, but actually in logic it is what we call it the copula. So later on I will discuss what copula is and what is the function of the copula in logic. Okay, so the subject, which is the symbol of S, the small letter C, which is the copula, and the third one is the predicate. So the subject and predicate are the material elements or matter which are united either by affirmation or separates by negation. Okay. So the elements of the proposition. So the subject or predicate may be a simple term. So it could either be a subject, subject and predicate can be a simple term like one word, or a complex term. So complex terms, a combination of two or more words. So just an example, man is free. So the terms are simple while in the sentence, because the subject is man, the predicate is free. But to give another example, the first man on the moon was not a bionic man. So both the subject and the predicate are complex terms. The first man on the moon. Okay, so it's already a complex term. Was not a bionic man. That is also a complex term, because it is already a combination of two or more words, two or more terms. Okay, so here, let's proceed now to the next one, the copula. So the subject and predicate are linked by a copula. So the copula is the one that links between the subject and the predicate, and it constitutes the formal element of the proposition. It is the form. Okay, why? It's because the copula indicates whether one term is denied or affirmed of another. So it is where we can identify whether the proposition is affirmative or negative. So for example, University of Cebu is a member of PACOCOA. So the copula is. So from there, it expresses affirmation in the sentence, because both the subject and predicate are directly linked or directly agree to each other. Okay, so that is affirmation, because the subject term, University of Cebu, and at the same time the member PACOCOA agrees to one another. So therefore, it expresses affirmation. But on the other hand, okay, Julia Barreto is not Joshua Garcia's girlfriend. So the copula is not expresses denial or negation. Why? It is because the subject and the predicate does not agree to one another. So therefore, the proposition here is already considered as negative. Okay, the logical form. So the proposition in its logical form, so the elements are arranged as follows. So the S, copula, are the subject, the copula and the predicate, period. So moreover, the copula must be expressed in present tense, usually in present tense. Indicative mode of verb to be, usually linking verbs like is, are. Okay? The copula must be a linking verb because its function is to connect the subject and the predicate. And it must be in the present tense because the proposition is the expression of the judgment, which is a present act of the mind. Okay, so that will be all for the first part of the chapter 2, the proposition. So thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next topic, and that will be the types of propositions. Once again, I'm Sean Xavier Alclita. Thank you very much.